Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Saurabh Nanda, who is the founder of Combonation, which is a 24 by 7 online shopping portal for based combo deals on products across categories such as grocery, household, personal care, baby care, beauty, and men's grooming. Hi Saurabh, welcome to ELI.
Hi, Priyanjan, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Very, very well.
I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Sure. So, I'm Saurabh Nanda, and I've been a beauty entrepreneur for the last 25 years. Have had the pleasure of being the owner of a brand called Nature's Essence, a brand we sold for $50 million a couple of years back. And currently, we are the promoters of a brand called Color Essence, which
Mhm,
is into makeup. And that is a brand which is close to around 20 million Indian, $20 million in sales.
mhm,
And combination basically is an extension of our beauty journey, and that brings close to around 1,000 odd brands, on board, and they are basically sold only in combos,
mhm,
because the biggest the worry for any CEO come promoter
mhm,
in today's world is that maintain a pricing parity between the online and the offline channels. So when we sell in combos, basically we are not disclosing the individual SKU price, and
mhm,
that ambiguity is a boon for the CEO come promoter of any brand who wants to maintain the pricing parity. Because
mhm.
if you have to maintain a range for the online and one for the offline, that adds to your inventory carrying cost.
Right.
And unless there is some kind of a incentive on both the sides, there is a constant downward, pull of the
Mhm.
prices, which totally is I think is the biggest concern for any promoter or any CEO.
Right. Right. So got it. We will talk
Yeah.
about combination in detail, but before that, I would love to know about your early life prior to entrepreneurship. So can you tell us how was your early life and what were different events in your life that led to entrepreneurship?
So basically, I've been an entrepreneur from the word go.
Mm,
Even my MBA time, I had to forego my convocation and join my father's business. And Nature Sense happens to be his baby, and we were soldiers in his army from day one.
mm,
And I did not have the pleasure to work for someone ever. I've been an entrepreneur all my life.
mm,
And it's been 25 years into the beauty trade, and traveled more than 25 countries only to sell our brands inventories across the world,
mm,
and had the pleasure of understanding one thing, that human behavior worldwide is
mm,
same. There is nothing which is different in India, or it is different in the US, or in the Middle East. It is all the same human behavior, the
mm,
same trigger points which lead to a sale, the same apprehensions, the same you know ways that women want to look good, and the men want their women to look good.
mhm,
So beauty, fortunately, is a very wide spectrum, and there is no pricing pressure. It is not a commoditized business. It is a business where the perception sells more than the reality, and the higher is the perception, higher is the price the brand can command.
mm.
Yes.
I understand you come from a business family, but you have also yourself set up multiple businesses, and there has to be as an entrepreneur sometimes you have certain kind of expertise on certain areas where you specialize in. So can you tell us what is your forte in terms of entrepreneurship?
So I come from a very unique school of thought, that I have always tried and coupled consumption with reselling. And if you want to be a very large consumer, uh, you know, uh, if you can couple it with reselling expertise, your consumption will only get bigger. Like even being a small company, the previous company we had, Nature Sense, was one of the largest consumers of media And the biggest reason for being the largest consumer of media services was because I was a reseller to, in my private capacity, to more than 300 brands. So whatever margins we used to make through the sales to other brands, we used to, capitalize on that margins and consume for our own, growth and our own imagery. And media per se is one thing which very few people understand, and that has been my pivot in life, where media leads to a air building, it leads to a image building. It cannot be directly correlated to sales, but the higher is the imagery, higher is the trajectory, higher is the the longer you can stay in business,
Right.
and you can't equate with equivalent amount of sales. So
Mm.
I have been selling to multiple brands, and I have been consuming large portions of media, both for nature essence, color essence, and now for combination. Combination also now is in the process to come out with the biggest media campaign in Delhi NCR, with
Mhm.
more than 500 hoardings in Delhi NCR to promote the brand for a good 120 odd days.
Got it.
So that power comes from being a reseller and being a consumer at large.
Got you. Speaking of
Yeah.
combination, let's dive deep into it. What is the hypothesis behind the whole idea? I understand the pricing thing you mentioned when you combine certain products, so you can get a discount from the manufacturer, and you don't need to disclose what is the cost for each product in the bucket. But what is the hypothesis from the customer's end? Why would they buy 10 products if they may be in need of two or three of them?
So basically, we have two formats in combos. One is a format called predefined combos, and one is a format called make your own combo.
Mhm.
So in the predefined combo, we basically tailor make the uh, format of combos for the consumer, where the selling point is the deep discounting.
Mhm.
And in the make your own combo, basically the variety is absolutely consumer's choice. He can buy 2 units, 3 units, 4 units. It is absolutely his choice. And depending on the bill price, he
Mhm.
gets a margin of in excess, from the bonus combo section, he gets from 10% to 100% extra. So, the biggest thing is that brands don't mind giving deep discounting to large resellers, but
Mhm.
they also want to protect their pricing parity in the market so that there is no conflict of the channel. And by putting the same in combos, we are giving everybody the best of the worlds. The consumer gets the deep discount, he gets a choice in the make your own combo. The brand gets a deep amount of movement of stock, and
Mhm.
he does not hurt his pricing mechanism in the market. He's able to protect his price,
Mhm.
which is the most sensitive part for any senior leader in the organization, because at a top level there is nothing beyond maintaining parity of price across markets. And this is the beauty of the entire combination, where there is nobody in the entire value chain who is not happy. Everybody is in a very happy state of mind.
Mhm. Interesting. Uh, Tell us a bit about how did you go about starting this venture? What are the different elements that you brought together initially? Did you first go to the brands to do partnerships, or did you start the e-commerce portal first? How did you go about it?
So we have been in this B2B sales for a very long time. It's almost a business we have in the last 10, 12 years. We've been able to do business in excess of around 1,000 odd crores. And the biggest concern, which I have already mentioned, was, brands don't mind giving their inventory at, deep discounts. But the moment we were able to, have differences in their pricing in the market, they used to come offended to us. So the
Mhm.
entire logic of starting combination was that how can we keep everyone happy? How
Mhm.
can the consumer be happy with the deep discounting? Because he goes online only with a mandate to, hunt for discounts, and he goes offline to, buy what he wants to buy, plus to enjoy the whole experience of shopping, the physical touch and feel of the product. So we are both in e-commerce, and we are also opening 100 odd, shop and shop stores across the country before we get our, first institutional funding. And the moment we are able to crack our institutional funding, we'll be hoping to go national with 1,000 odd stores in the physical world, and the same omni-channel offering on the online also. So
Mm,
it's going to be an omni-channel play for us,
mm,
and we have very innovative models of sourcing which not everyone enjoys. So in our media business, which has which acts like a very big feeder to our sourcing strategy. So we
mm,
have ways to go to brands across models like barter, EMI, and sales for media. So
mm,
barter is a model where we swap inventory against media, and the cost of the inventory is equivalent to the cost of our own sourcing of the media. And
mhm,
because we have media as our pivot, and we are reselling media to more than 300 brands, we are able to extract a very deep discounting from the swap model,
mhm,
and that is what we are able to offer to our consumers as bonuses from our combo section. And another format of sourcing, is for us is called EMI, where we go to brands who want to offload large quantums of inventory from 1 to 100 odd crores, and they are happy to offer us a staggered payout period plan. So that allows us to buy really large and sell it across our various networks. Obviously, combination leads the way to liquidate the inventory. And there are other institutional networks also we have, where we are able to redeem what we are sourcing from
mm,
the brands in a staggered payout period, because the only reason brands give us deep discounts and a large staggered payout period is because the quantum of business is very very large. Unlike a retailer who normally operates on a sales or return model, the MI model basically is an outright sales model, just with the convenience of a staggered payout period. So we basically aggregate all our demands across our categories of sales, and
mm.
we go to the brand and get the best possible price over a staggered payout period plan. So we love to play the role of sales as a service. We are the new SaaS in town. It's not software as a service; it is sales as a service.
Mm.
So that is what brands know us, who have been working with us for a very long time across spectrums, barter, EMI, and sales for media. In sales for media model, we basically offer brands not only 100 rupees of media for the 100 rupees of money they give to us for their releases. We
Mhm.
also give them an assured annual 150% of sales. So these three formats basically allow us to play both the sides of the coin, being a buyer to the brand and being the seller to the brand. So when we are both, the relationship we enjoy with these brands is very deep and
Mm.
long standing.
Got you.
Yeah.
The next question I have is around customer acquisition. How are you going about acquiring customer? You mentioned about the hoardings that you around 500 hoardings that you have implemented around New Delhi. But what are the different strategies you have to acquire new customers? And there is a static friction when you start a new venture, especially in e-commerce. Uh, the cost of acquisition is really high. For example, the Amazons and Flipkarts of the world, they pay a lot of money just to acquire one customer, and once they acquire, they retain that customer for a really really long time. So how are you going about acquiring the customers?
So obviously the rules of the game remain the same for everyone. Just that even with a smaller budget, why we are able to still go aggressive is because we play the role of a consumer and we play the role of a reseller. So the more we resell, the more we can consume. And through our media division, we basically sell all these services to other e-commerce companies, other brands, and whatever margin we are able to make, we are able to basically apply those margins to our own consumption, and that allows us to play it much larger canvas than what we can afford currently.
Okay. Uh, Curious to know, I mean, on the phase on the website, let's say customer is adding a bucket of different items and placing an order. But curious to know how is the logistic look like? What is the logistic involved in assembling the products and creating a bucket? I mean, let's say the customer has added one Pond's with a Dove kind of brand. I mean, how do you go about it? How do you assemble the products?
So right now we are a inventory-led model, and we have all these top-selling brands, and as per our market intelligence and as per our experience of the B2B trade, we have all the best sellers in our portfolio, and they get assembled at our warehouses, and they then get shipped across the country. Plus, we are opening 100 odd stores, which will also act like our mini warehouses, to distribute in much more efficient manner. And the target is to go 1,000 odd stores nationally. The moment we are able to get some kind of institutional funding, we'll be going national with 1,000 stores, which with every 10 to 15 kilometers of radius, we'll have a store who will be a mini warehouse and logistic point for us to, serve the consumer in a better and much faster fashion.
This reseller model is becoming popular. I think there are some players in OTT space which are combining different OTT apps and giving at a discount to the customer. So tell us why this model is interesting, or why this model works from a consumer's point of view. Why the consumer wants to buy things in a bulk, and sometimes there are services or products inside the bundle which the consumer may not need, but what forces the consumer to buy the come discover the product and buy the product? What is the mindset behind it?
So obviously, the consumer who comes to sites like ours is basically, they are very informed consumers, and they are deal seekers. They want the bang for their money, and because we are large agents of sourcing, we are able to bundle probably 5 items at the price of 2 or 3. So till the time you're getting more than what you're paying for, everybody is very smart, and they are more than happy to change their format of buying. These are all innovative models, because ultimately, if the brand does not remain very happy for a very long time, they will not be able to pass on the same discounting to the consumer. Why? Because today you see in the mobile phone space also that there is so much of attrition in the real estate, in the retail business against the online, because the blame game does not stop.
Right.
The online guy is saying that the offline is selling at a cheaper price, and the offline is selling at the on price. So brands are now being forced to have maintain two different set of inventories. And if the sales don't match up to the inventory carrying cost, brands will have no choice but to maintain a parity. And I think it is always in the favor of the business that if you are having dual pricing in the market, the inventory which is online will be sourced by the offline players and again will be sold online. So you are only killing your own sales as a brand.
Right.
And that is where we want to keep our consumers in a happy state without hurting the brand in their long-term objectives. That's why the combination is a big story for us.
Understood. Another question coming to my mind: why can't Flipkarts or Amazons of the world or Nikas of the world cannot implement such a model? Why they're selling individual items always?
So individual items, obviously, they have big pockets, and individually, it looks very flashy to have almost 10 crore units as SKUs in their library of offerings. But it can be replicated. It's not very difficult, but because of our beauty of our sourcing models, the barter, EMI, and sales for media models, these are totally our trump cards to source very, very large, and buy very efficiently. And, time as a currency also is very, very important for us. When we are buying such large quantities, we have to not only sell through the online and the offline formats, we have a very healthy sales coming from the institutional selling also. So 70 to 80% of the inventory gets offloaded in the institutional selling, and 20-30%, you get the advantage of sourcing very large, but you don't have the pressure to sell too many units in the online D2C space. Your sourcing is as per the B2B, but your selling is as per D2C.
Understood. Saurabh, tell us a little bit about the different challenges that you have faced during the building of this venture and throughout your entrepreneurial journey? What are the common big challenges that you have faced?
So, initially in the careers, we have our chasing profitability, and profitability, in the books was nothing but vanity. What has been my learning in my entire 25 years of journey is that if you have cash in hand,
Mhm.
your brains work at your optimal best. But if
Mm,
you just have profit on your books and not in your hand, these are vanity metrics which have no value. You will not be able to survive for very long. So if you
right,
have very healthy cash flows, even small margins will keep you very, very, ahead of the race. But if your receivables are late and your payables are early,
mm,
the journey will be very short-lived for you. So in our sourcing models, we keep our payables delayed and our receivables are advances. So we are always ahead of the curve.
understood.
And
Uh,
you can't lose that. You can't uh, you can't bow out. In the entrepreneurial world, once you get into it, there is no way out. It's the
right,
only way out is you're able to build a fantastic brand. You're able to sell the brand, but till the time you are owning the brand, I think you only have to keep the fight on.
right. Uh, yeah, another question around customer acquisition. Everybody knows e-commerce and retail business. Acquiring a customer is a huge cost. So that is why some of the brands have been implementing some growth hacks, which work really well, and acquisition cost reduces significantly. So, any such hacks, growth hacks that you have discovered or implemented at your venture, which can be taken away by other entrepreneurs?
So obviously, I mentioned earlier that that hyperloop for us is the combine the resell with the consumption. The more you consume, the more you resell,
Mm,
and your loop will never get exhausted. So
right.
today we are also creating a very large consumption pool of onboarding 101 entrepreneurs. So we are marrying two people out here. We're marrying the talent, and we're marrying the investor. Where the talent does not leave his job because he has a dope monthly dope of salary coming to him all the time.
Mm,
And we are basically hunting the top talent of the country and creating brands which will be sold through our offline and online channels, which will be adding to our internal consumption. And we are basically helping the top talent with stakes in the companies they will be driving, and a similar dope they get in their professional lives. And we are marrying the private investor with a nice monthly income also, and a principal security plan. So basically, we are enhancing our portfolio of internal consumption, and we are also adding team members on the reselling side. So
mm,
as of now, we serve 300 brands, and our target is to have 100 of our own brands and close to around 1,000 more consumers who will add to our resellers portfolio. So with 1,100 brands to service across formats, the
mhm,
consumption is so large that your buying and procurement price will only go down. And whatever arbitrage you are able to extend there, you just spend on brand building.
mm,
And the bigger is the brand, the bigger is the momentum for you. So we come from that school of thought that we sell as much you can and consume as much you can, so that your overall pie of the consumption is very large,
mm.
and the world comes to you to move their inventories.
Gotcha. Um,
Yeah.
what are the different lessons that you have learned during your entrepreneurial journey, which can be applied to any business, be it retail or e-commerce or even a SaaS business also? What is the common fundamental of a business that you have learned, which can be taken away by other entrepreneurs?
So one, obviously, a leader has to lead from the front. There is no amount of motivation which will work, but a leadership by example, people will follow you. And most important, the spirit, of entrepreneurship inside your organization has to be so deep that you don't have to police your staff. They give their best, because the human, conviction, the human brain has so much power. The
Mm,
only thing which is needed is that you motivate their senses, and they will win the world for you. So your team is absolutely critical, and they have to be, in awe of your leadership skills. And that leadership skill will only come once you're leading from the front, and you are motivating them, and you are able to create a growth model for those guys also, because they are your first consumers. Your
mm,
employees are your first consumers. So if they are happy and they are convinced with your journey, they will give their best, and they will bear open their networks to you.
mm.
And that's where you will become successful as an entrepreneur. So for me, it is a family. I don't create employees. I create entrepreneurs inside my organization, and they do much better than I do myself. So they are my real champs.
Gotcha. My final question for you. What would you say is the meaning of entrepreneurship? How would you define the term entrepreneur? And tell it from your context. You don't need to give a bookish definition. We all know what is written on Wikipedia. But as per you, who is an entrepreneur?
I think an entrepreneur is a person who dies a million deaths and he rises every time after that. So he's the biggest phoenix anyone can ever come across, and just keep on taking the wave after wave, and you will find your destination. It's a beautiful journey. It is exciting journey, because something which is very easy is not entrepreneurship. Something which comes after a lot of blood and sweat is
Mm,
what you derive the maximum pleasure out of. So it's a beautiful journey. uh, Love the risk, and the reward will love you.
mm. Well, on this note, I will close the session. Thanks for your time, Saurabh, and it was a great pleasure to have you on our platform. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Priya Ranjan. Thanks for the time. Thank you.